So, what is the good life? And how can we explain to you the idea of neg entropy? And this is, I'm going to try to make this quick. And it's this idea of people want to go out and have a party but not have the hangover. And we're trying, I am at least trying to observe and teach this myself so everyone can understand. So I just did this video on Mardi Gras this morning, and it came to mind of all the hangovers that will occur and people's association with the good life and the excellent time they had that they can't really remember, that they wake up with a hangover. And what does that have to do with neg entropy and stagnation? And it's this fluidity of energy that exists in all of us, and it's the latching on to and obtaining that memory and that charge in you so you can bring it through death. And what a wild assumption that we can use the idea of going out partying, forgetting, and then waking up with a hangover to be akin with death, because it is really no different. It's the same as the French call an orgasm the little death. What do we all try to what do we always try to obtain in life? It's the good life. It's the orgasm. It's that feeling. But once you have that orgasm, it's like you can't have your cake and eat it too, because once you have it, then you lose energy. You go into entropy. But what if there's a way to not have entropy? What if you get into a negentropic system where the orgasm fuels itself internally in your body? And so how do we negate the hangover? How do we negate the what seems to be the sine wave, or the dualistic nature of, well, lights on, lights off? How do we get in the state of infinite expansion? And so most of the teachings and talkings I do, regardless of how mundane some of them are and how expansive they might be, the goal is always the same: to show some idea of immortality. And that fear that most people have of what if that's true is that, well, if you're not having a good life, if you're not having the good life, then immortality seems like a burden. It seems like quite an impasse, because, oh, does this go on forever, is always the idea. And if it did, the idea is hellacious one to some people at times. But if we flip it around and say, no, this is actually exactly what I wanted, this is exactly what I want it to be, how to get into that mindset all the time, how to always be in the state of turned on. How do you always be turned on without the loss of energy and consciousness and awareness? Meaning, go out and have a party, remember it, bring it with you, wake up, have a dream at night, dream your next day, remember that last night, remember your dream, and have energy in the morning to explore life. And so the ideas that we put forward here are how to accomplish that. Because essentially that's what all life is. What is the use of the experience if you can't remember it? So as we get deeper into this, as we expand all of this knowledge, it's to get people away from the consistent need to want to destroy themselves. And this is the idea of what feasting and fasting is. These are all of my teachings for people. And it's a struggle for me sometimes, obviously, because there's always, as anyone listening out there, kind of feeling as if I'm in my own echo chamber. Am I just talking to myself? Self. And in a way, sure, that's what it is, as you're talking to yourself whenever you say something. And at least you should be. And there's a good way of, if people enjoy my talks, what I do, I don't really have an idea when I go into this. I just start talking, and I observe myself from behind myself. And if you get into that state, you can talk differently, and you can also observe your reality differently. And that actually puts you in a position of, like playing a video game. That puts you in a position of of there is no downtime. It puts you in a position of the capacity to have. It's like playing a video game where no matter what happens, you just hit the button and hit the reset button, or put a new game in, or whatever it might be. And having that mindset, you can always be in on mode. And so the teachings here about feasting, fasting, how to understand language differently, the things to ingest, what not to ingest, how to breathe properly. It's all to just make you more conscious and aware of how to get into a position of neg entropy, how to always expand and become limitless and boundaryless. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. We'll talk soon.